Okay, so this video, I'm going to try and keep it really short on what happens whenever you exercise. So basically, what does your body do whenever you have food or, the macronutrients in your system? Where does it go? How is it used? Kind of thing. And this kind of help with some of the other videos that I've been going over. So what happens whenever you exercise? So let's go over just real quick on the carb-based side of things. So whenever you eat, or whenever you consume carbs and all that kind of stuff, your body stores it in a few different places, which is one is blood glucose, and then your next one is muscle glycogen, and then your last one is fat. All right. So what happens whenever you exercise, and then also, where does the carbs go whenever you use it? So carbs is your first form of energy whenever you do exercise, especially high intense exercise. So whenever you run or you do, interval training, things like that, things that jack up your heart rate, the first thing your body's going to do is use carbohydrates. All right. So that's why you do want to eat carbohydrates. They're not bad for you or anything like that. But that's going to be the first thing that your body uses is carbohydrates. And so whenever you start doing that, this is going to be your first level, all right? So whenever you start exercising, right here, all right? If this is full, then your body's going to use this first. So your blood glucose is going to be used first whenever you exercise. Then it's going to go into your muscle glycogen, all right? And that's going to go down as you start to exercise. And basically, muscle glycogen is just a bunch of glucose put together, all right? And then the last thing is it's going to go into your fat stores whenever you start to lose all this. So once this is depleted and then this is depleted, now what's going to happen is your body's going to go to your fat and start using that. So that's how you start losing the fat a little bit. There's a little bit more complication on how you lose fat and stuff, but this is one way of doing it. Or this is a kind of an overview on how it works. Basically, I'm trying to go fast, so just so you don't just sit there and look bored. So, whenever you exercise, this goes down, right? Then as you keep exercising, this goes down because once this is depleted, it moves over to your muscle glycogen. So that's now going to go down, all right? Last thing that's going to go down is your fat. So whenever you're done exercising, if you immediately have, some type of smoothie or maybe you eat, rice or something like that, more of your denser carbs and easy digestible carbs, now what's going to happen is your body's going to use those carbs to bring this and this back up, all right? Because your body cares about making these levels optimal, okay? So if you limit the amount of carbs that you eat after working out, your denser carbs, then your body's going to go to your fat and still keep using your fat to fill these levels back up. So that's why whenever you exercise and do those things and you're starting to work out, but you then consume so many more carbs right after, or a lot of carbs during the day, well, the reason why you're still not losing weight is because your body already filled these two levels back up, and so now it's just pouring back into your fat at that point. So you still want to limit, if you're trying to lose fat and lose weight, you still want to limit the amount of denser carbs and things like that you want to eat, just because you want your body to go into your fat stores and start changing your fat into these two things, all right? Because fat is the same thing, or it can be changed into carbohydrates. And so that's how we start, losing fat. That's one way of doing it. So whenever you exercise, these levels go down, right? And then it starts going into your fat. So let's say you start running, and you start running really fast, right? It's going to use this level first, then this level, and then that feeling that you get whenever you start running really, really fast, and then you feel your body kind of slow down and go into a different type of gear. Well, that's because your body is now going into your fat stores and it's trying to convert the fat into carbs so that you can keep using your energy and still, power your way through different things. So that is kind of a trigger whenever you're starting to use your fat a little bit as energy, okay? So high intensity energy is when we start using carbs, right? The lower the intensity, the more fat we start to use. But if you're trying to lose weight, limit the carbs that you do eat afterwards, because your body's going to use the fat to restore these levels, all right? I know this wasn't super in depth on exercising and that kind of stuff. I just, if you want more explanation, just please let me know, and I'll be sure to do more of that. All right, but this is basically what happens, the big picture, whenever you start to exercise. All right, so if you start to squat and do a bunch of interval training or something like that, your body's going to use these two stores, and then it's going to go into here, and that's a good thing, because if we want to try and lose fat, that's what we want to do. And then whenever you're done exercising, if you lift weights and stuff like that, which is by far the best thing you should do, but once you're done, since these are down, your body's still going to use the fat to replenish these, because your body cares a lot about making sure these two levels are optimal. All right, just a quick note, like diabetics, things like that, they start to get low blood sugar, right, or blood glucose is basically what happens, and they start eating something like a Snickers or something like that. That's because this is going down, and then they need some type of sugar to increase this back up, and so that's what they're using, is basically this part. Just a quick tip, or a quick note, whatever you want to call it. But that's what happens whenever you exercise.